And welcome to HC Media Group Finance Training Courses, where today we're going to be looking at how to decide on the legal structures of your business. So, sole trader versus limited company. My name is Joe Hamilton. I am a one award-winning author in business. I currently have a book out there on the lovely Amazon called Cake. Cake, I hear you say. Why the name Cake? It's a digital marketing book, and I came up with the idea of calling it Cake because it's got all the ingredients that you need to be a digital marketeer. So a really, really good read. Of course, I would say that, being as that I am a bit biased, but if you are looking for a digital marketing book, then it's certainly one to look at. The name is Cake. I'm a managing director of HC Media Group. We set up HC Media Group now at 2 years ago. We moved into our offices in Colchester about 10 months ago or so. And we're the fastest growing marketing agency in Essex. For the last 10 months or so, after moving into our new offices, we've just grown from strength to strength, which is fantastic, and I'm really proud of what we have achieved. My past is around, I've managed over 200 retail stores, looking after business management, HR, their finances, and my specialism is growing business through finance and business management. And I've worked with some big names on the high street, and some of these names I'm sure will be familiar to you. Started my career off with the lovely Whitbread Inns, which was a really good place to be. Quickly moved into off-license chain. You may remember Thresher. They were a huge off-license chain, one of the biggest in the UK. And I started off as a branch manager in Thresher, in Romford, where I had 12 staff. One of their busiest stores, a flagship store. It was hugely successful, and quickly moved up to area manager, where I had 25 stores. And before I left there, I ended up doing a stint as regional manager, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It was absolutely superb, with having about 200 stores. Then got itchy feet and decided to spread my wings and maybe share some of the knowledge that I had gleaned. Moved into Co-op, which I'm sure you're familiar with. And just recently, I've been with Well Pharmacy, again, a really highly respected brand on the high street. Well Pharmacy, I was with them for 11 years, and in that time I was area manager for 25 stores within Essex and North London, with about 260 staff. A really, really good company to work for, and I left them to set up HC Media 2 years ago, and the rest, as I say, is history. But I just thought that I'd love to be able to give back some of the information that I have gleaned over the years with some of these brands, and hence the training courses that you're receiving now. So that's just a little bit about me. If you would like to get in touch with me personally, then please do. It'd be great to talk to you. My email address is team@hcmediagroup.co.uk. So if you want to jot that down, it's team@hcmediagroup.co.uk. It would be great to talk to you. So today, as I say, as part of our financial training, we're going to be looking at sole trader or limited company, particularly when you're starting up a small business. So just want you to understand which business structure is right for you. When starting a small business, one of the first things to be decided on is as we've said, the legal structure used for your business. And it can either be, as we say, a sole trader or a limited company, or indeed, you can go down a partnership route also. Setting up as a sole trader is probably the most popular legal structure, particularly in the UK anyway. Last year, I think at last recollection, there's approximately 3.5 million sole proprietorships. And sole traders accounted for 60% of small businesses in the UK. That was in 2019. So a very popular, structure. But even though sole traders are the most popular option for small business owners, there are also some clear benefits and advantages of having a limited company over becoming a sole trader. And we'll explore this in a little more detail in the coming slides. It is important to note, though, of course, that if your business has a turnover of 85 grand in the previous year, then you must register as a limited company anyway. So just bear that in mind. So, limited company versus sole trader. So, what's the difference? A limited company is a separate legal entity that you can form to run your business. Even if you're a one-person business, you can form it as a limited company. And as a director, you'll be responsible for any legal and financial decisions that the company makes. So the company assets and liabilities are completely separate from your own personal finances, which is one of the benefits, I guess, of having a limited company. If you do decide to set up your own limited company, you will be a director, as we say, and also a shareholder of that business. And the benefit is that you can be paid a salary, so you can be paid the minimal salary, and or dividends from the company's available profits. But the company must make various annual returns and file annual accounts. With some of the bodies like Companies House and HMRC, and it is your responsibility as a director of that company to ensure that happens on a regular basis. In addition, there's another of other deadlines and responsibilities, but I'll explain this later on as we go through some of the benefits. That's just a little bit about limited company. So again, just to confirm, you will be a company director. You are responsible for the legal and financial decisions. However, it is separate from your own personal finances, which is good. You can be paid salary and dividends. However, you must file accounts with Companies House and HMRC. The difference between that and sole trader. So if you're a sole trader, you do run your own business as an individual. So you're not a director, you're as an individual, and you're self-employed. And you can keep all of the business profits after you've paid your tax, of course. But you are personally responsible for any losses that your business makes. And there's also some other rules again on running and naming your business. And again, I'll explain these in more detail. So again, just to confirm, the benefits of sole trader is, yes, it's easier to set up. You are self-employed, and you do keep all of the profits. Woohoo! After you pay tax, of course, but you are personally responsible for any losses on there. So I just want to talk to you just a little bit about limited company and some of the advantages of a limited company. So yes, it is very tax efficient. We know that a limited company is certainly much more tax efficient than a sole trader. You have limited liability. So by that we mean the company is a separate legal entity, and your personal assets are protected. So if your company needs to close because of, financial difficulties, your personal assets cannot be taken from you to pay any company debts. So that's a huge advantage for people going limited company. There is a potential for greater profits. So as a sole trader, all of the profits made by your business are taken as income. So we know that as per the previous slide. And once you pay your income tax and national insurance contributions, then you take home the rest of it. Operating as a limited company, you'll pay corporation tax. So that's currently 19% on any company profits. And you can also pay yourself through a combination of dividends and salary. So this will minimize your PAYE, so pay as you earn. and obviously your NIC outgoings, which is your national insurance contribution outgoings. Any further payments you make to yourself will usually be taken as dividends. And I'll explain how dividends works later on. But as the rates are lower, you'll pay less tax if you're a basic rate taxpayer. Therefore, there's potential to earn greater profit and less tax if you are a limited company. You can also claim more business expenses through your limited company rather than sole trader, and this includes stuff like stationery, business cards. You can also claim mileage allowance, business trips, employee mobile phones, and some meals brought whilst working away. But it is important to speak to your accountant about what expenses are allowable. As HMRC have some strict rules on what can be claimed and what can't be claimed, and it is a bit of a minefield in all fairness, but your accountant is fully aware of what can be claimed and what can't. And any money that you claim back in those expenses, so whether it's, as I say, business cards, mileage allowance, or whatever it may be, will be deducted from your company's profit and therefore not be taxed. So again, that's why there's greater opportunity for profitability. In addition to that, borrowing power. So as a sole trader, you rely on your personal credit rating to borrow capital to grow your business. Whereas a limited company can establish its own credit rating, which can support borrowing to invest in the business. And this is really, really good news for those individuals who don't have the highest credit ratings. So you look to borrow on the strength of your limited company as opposed to your own personal credit rating. So again, a really, really good advantage. Improved reputation and credibility. So again, confidence is critical in business, and a limited company has that sort of veneer of professionalism, which instills a heck of a lot of confidence in people, and more importantly, I guess, in the finance sector. Some clients, large businesses, banks, and so forth, simply prefer to work exclusively with limited companies, and other organisations flatly refuse to deal with unincorporated businesses, i.e. sole traders, partnerships, etc., etc. So having a limited company can present new business opportunities that may not otherwise have existed, as potential new clients have more confidence in the fact that you are an incorporated business. So that's some of the advantages of being a limited company. Again, I'd like to just talk now and just compare it against a sole trader. As far as sole trader is concerned, woohoo! Yes, there is less paperwork because there's no corporation tax to pay. You don't have to surrender annual accounts. There's no VAT returns. So for those of us that hate paperwork, it is a really good way to go. Sole traders and directors of limited companies are required to submit self-assessments to HMRC, but if you have a limited company, you must also submit extra paperwork to different authorities, as I've said, that corporation tax and VAT returns. Because failure to submit the returns, if you're a limited company, usually results in significant fines and penalties. Whereas a sole trader, you avoid the headache of all of those returns. So the accounts are simpler. The accounting process is much easier for sole traders. There's less paperwork, fewer expenses to account for, and in some cases, probably often fewer clients, dare I say, but as much if you do, if you have an accountant at that stage, and I'm sure some sole traders will, but they're often less expensive than it would be for limited companies. And again, that's purely because I think you've got fewer clients, and the accounts are much simpler, so the costs are not as much as far as you have an accountant is concerned. Much lower startup costs than it is if you have to become incorporated. And as far as privacy is concerned, so legally, limited companies must be, transparent and share certain information with the public, such as filing annual accounts, as we've said, and stating the names of directors and shareholders on a public register at Companies House. But as a sole trader, you don't have to provide any of this information to Companies House. So again, it's not public knowledge. So your privacy, there's a lot more privacy, as I say, if you're a sole trader. But it is easy to change the business structure at any point. So you can, if you believe that your business is going to grow significantly, you can change that at a later stage and become VAT registered. One thing to point out here is that if the business turns over 85,000 or more in 1 year, you must register for VAT anyway. So that's some of the advantages around sole trader. If we take into account, conclusion, sort of wrapping the whole lot up, the sole trader's legal structure for your business is probably, as we said, the easiest to set up, and that's why it's been proven to be such a popular option, with almost 60% of businesses going down the sole trader route in 2019. A limited company may come across the business as a better model to work with than sole trader, and this again just links back to, as I say, limited liability of the limited company. And businesses and contractors are more likely to work with a limited company because their perception is that they're more professional, and as I say, people, it builds trust and it builds confidence. And a limited company can, it can certainly build a good reputation, as I'm sure a sole trader can as well. But because it's more credible to parties looking in from the outside, they're more inclined to work with your business. So there you have it in a nutshell. It's not as all complicated as first thought, but before you decide, so ensure you've weighed up all the pros and cons of all the legal structures to see what fits best with your business. But please do bear in mind that if your business turns over in excess of 85 grand in one tax year, you have to go down the limited company route anyway. So that concludes our training session on the difference between sole trader and limited company. If you want to talk to me about the subject that you've just heard, then please do. It'd be great to hear from you. Just email me at team@hcmediagroup.co.uk, and I would be delighted to talk to you. I hope you've enjoyed this part of the course. I've been Joe Hamilton. Thank you for listening.